Continuing to explore the Pirkei Avot, really timeless teaching from our sages, as we started in the first chapter in Mishnah 4, where we are introduced to the sages that are simply quoted as their names or enumerated as their names without having Rabbi or Rav before them. They are mostly known as the Zugot, literally translated as the pairs, because in this one, in each Mishnah, starting from Mishnah 4, we find two Chachamim, two sages. Probably most of you know the most famous one is Hillel and Shammai, which were the last of the whole pairs. So in Mishnah 8, we learn a teaching from Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shatach, that they received the tradition from the previous pairs. Yehuda ben Tabai says, when you are a judge, do not act like a lawyer. When the parties in a lawsuit stand before you, look at them as if both sides are guilty. But when they leave you, having accepted your ruling, look at them as if they are both acquitted. Historically, there is a disagreement in the Talmud as to whether Yehuda or Shimon served as the Nasi. This pair served in parallel with the extended reign of Alexander Yanai and his queen, Salome Alexandra. By the end of this period, the Pharisees had regained control of the Sanhedrin and made a new alliance with the Hashmonaim rulers. There is a tradition that Yehuda ben Tabai fled to Alexandria for a while, possibly to avoid being executed as a result of the power struggles. Shimon ben Shatach played a major role in establishing proper legal procedures that would apply equally and fairly to all, king and commoner, connected and influential alike. Two highly dramatic incidents reflect this absolute integrity and courage. In one case, a servant of Alexander Yanai was tried for murder. Shimon insisted that the king must appear in court, that he must stand out of respect for the court and the Torah. Shimon's fellow judges were too frightened of the king to uphold this procedure. In the second case, Shimon's own son was convicted and sentenced to death. Shimon learned that his son had been framed by a conspiracy of evildoers, but he could not prove this. He wanted to save his son, but his son convinced him that nullification of the sentence would be interpreted as a fix due to the familial connections. This would undermine Shimon's procedural revolution to establish unimpeached justice. Heartbreakingly, Shimon let the process proceed. So let's see a little bit inside what he means, this great sage, when it says, when you are judge, do not act like a lawyer. What does that mean? A judge should be neutral and broad-minded, open to all sides of a case and the various arguments, rather than allow his judgment too narrow, and to see the facts from the perspective of a lawyer who is trained to be the champion of one side. It should be noted that the rabbinic courts followed a practice closer to the European tradition of judges conducting the investigation of the court case, as opposed to the Anglo-Saxon tradition, which uses lawyers and the adversarial method to establish the facts. Both sides are guilty. What it says in the Mishnah itself, look at them as if they are both guilty. Be skeptical and critical when listening to the pleas of both sides. This is what is intended here. And when it says, but when they leave, having accepted your ruling, look at them as they both are acquitted. What does that mean, that they're both acquitted? When both litigants accept the ruling in a case, they are showing obedience and respect for the law. Therefore, both should be viewed as upstanding citizens. Until next time, for the next teaching of our great sages from the ethics of the fathers.